York is proven purely illegitimate by a man named David Prado. Now, my name is Ryan David Rodriguez. Now, I know that I need to be known as America's next great celebrity if this country is to survive. I go by my middle name and going to be dropping my first name legally. We're going by the name David Rodriguez, as I'm the victim of the absolutely and positively most hateful conspiracy that there has ever been, and this is something that everyone in America needs to be aware of. Now, David Prado is someone who moved next door to me at 114 East 1st Street, Apartment 1, during COVID from Oakley, California. He was using very high-powered and expensive spy equipment paid for by the American taxpayer. This was during Joe Biden's presidency. While Joe Biden was president, Gina Raimondo, the former governor of Rhode Island, was the Secretary of Treasury. Now, I am a very smart, hardworking, and resilient person. I did not grow up in New York City. I came here as a student at Columbia University, which is masquerading as an Ivy League university, just like Harvard and Yale. But it engaged in an absolutely unprecedented, vast political and legal conspiracy against my education, and engages in massive fraud by way of the School of General Studies. Now, I arrived as a 21-year-old transfer student who did not want his education to be interrupted for one semester. Further, I had very specific career goals. Most students, even at the Ivy League, are not considered to be pre-professional. However, I was officially considered to be a pre-law student, and I have a major legal case against the state of Rhode Island that I did not report to any legal authorities because I'm a very smart man who's planning to be a lawyer. Now, I was forced to discontinue my studies at Columbia with a balance of $12,000, which was paid, and I was planning to resume my studies at CUNY. Now, I came here to be a full-time student. I did not want my education to be interrupted for a semester. That said, I was working for a waiter for several years and moved in with a friend of a friend, an elderly man named George Wee, in a rent-controlled apartment at 114 East 1st Street, Apartment 5. The rent was $68 a month, purely a pure crime, but it was what it was, and again, it's a pure crime that my education was interrupted. I was staying with this elderly man, George Wee. It was only temporary hiatus. I did not put an APB to the world that there was a conspiracy against my college education, which is a very big mistake. Unfortunately, this was all without precedent, and it's just a situation where I ended up cutting off contact with the world because of this conspiracy against my education. It was really a big mistake, and I'm someone who now could not fathom being homeless for a day. Again, Columbia is supposedly an Ivy League university. I arrived in New York City, a Columbia University pre-law student, planning to be a lawyer at the age of 21. And now I'm 42 years old and homeless for the past 3 years. Been trying to resume my studies at the City University of New York. It's an absolute horror story. Now, I was on MySpace and still had my Columbia University identification, and met a woman at a fake real estate agent class that really just drove me crazy. And it was just a situation where she was 19 years old when I met her, and there was a lot of false counterterrorism money going around. Her name was Sarah Gonzalez, and it was just a situation where the situation between myself and Sarah Gonzalez is going to be elaborated on in a major way. And Sarah Gonzalez is someone who I met at a fake real estate agent class where I was in New York City. I'm in New York City for college. I did not want my interrupted stage education to be interrupted for a semester. And if my life were not a total disarray, Sarah Gonzalez and I would have been a perfect match. But we met on the wrong context, and it was a situation where she was in a very bad situation herself, and I ghosted her. And in the process of ghosting her, I deleted also my MySpace account, and I just cut off contact with my old friends and burned bridges with a lot of people. Again, I'm in New York City for college. I'd never heard of any conspiracy against one's education, and the situation with myself and Sarah Gonzalez is one that should never happen again. It was a total setup, and it was just a very strong attraction between us, and it was just a situation where I freaked out and I didn't know what the hell was going on, and I just cut off contact with the world. Anyhow, plan to resume my studies at the City University of New York many years later when COVID arrived and the NYPD knocked on my door and suggested that I call my mother, and I informed them that I am a survivor of child abuse. I screamed in their face at the top of my lungs that my mother is a child abuser who belongs in jail. Yet, I have not enrolled in school. I have resumed myself on Facebook, plan to resume my studies at the City University of New York. I have said some things to upset some people, but could not fathom they would go after my education and finances and put me out in the street. David Prado moved next door to be with Marcel Urania to spy and harass me and repeatedly call me an elder abuser. When a man named George Wee was staying in the nursing home when he died, I let a man named Robert Saw stay with me for a short while in October of 22, and he left by keeping the key. Eden Balkovich, my superintendent, was at the door on CCTV, and I was burglarized repeatedly until I could change the key. I could not report any of this to the state of New York because I was being harassed and terrorized. I am not below the law, but I am viewed as below the law by the state of New York. When I came here as a Columbia University student who never met his father, the state of New York, the New York FBI, the NYPD, they all had sick plans of surveilling me on behalf of children who have met their father and are being fed all kinds of sick stories. Again, the state of New York has absolutely and positively zero legitimacy. David Prado, Marcel Urania, Robert Saw, Eden Balkovich, these people were never going to be charged with any crimes against me. These people are above the law, and I am below the law. Why? I came here as an Ivy League student. I'm on educational hiatus. I paid $12,000 to Columbia University. Eden Balkovich doesn't speak English. He's a foreign goon. Robert Saw is from Pennsylvania. David Prado was moved from California to 114 East 1st Street, Apartment 2 for a year to spy and harass me. He paid the landlord over $25,000 and we're using spy equipment that cost well over this balance of $12,000. This is after I cut contact with the world, including a very special woman named Nicole, who I love with all my heart, and I was not supposed to lose touch with. I knew from high school. My mother ruined our relationship, but I just cut contact with the world and burned bridges with the world, and it was a big mistake. But just now know that the state of New York is absolutely and positively illegitimate, and that's why I'm homeless, and that's why my education was interrupted, and that's why I met Sarah Gonzalez. She was found by a matchmaker, and I just ghosted her. No! I was absolutely positively crazy about Sarah Gonzalez, and I ghosted her. I cut contact with everyone. I'm here for college. You do not ever mess with anyone's education or love life ever again. Columbia University and Dean College both had sick plans to get me off the football team and out of school before I ever stepped foot on campus. And the New York FBI, State of New York, and New York NYPD had sick plans of preventing me from ever resuming my studies at the City University of New York. New York has zero legitimacy, proven by David Prado.